The 1938 FIFA World Cup was the third staging of the World Cup, and was held in France from 4 to 19 June 1938. Italy retained the championship, beating Hungary 4-2 in the final. Host selection. France was chosen as hosts by FIFA in Berlin on August 13, 1936. France defeated Argentina and Germany in the first round of voting. The decision caused outrage in South America, where it was believed that the venue would alternate between the two continents. Instead, it was the second tournament in a row to be played in Europe. This was the last World Cup to be staged before the outbreak of the Second World War. Qualification. Because of anger over the decision to hold a second successive World Cup in Europe, neither Uruguay nor Argentina entered the competition, while Spain became the first country to be prevented from competing because of it being at war. It was the first time that the hosts and the title holders qualified automatically. Title holders were given an automatic entry into the World Cup until 2006, when this was abolished. Of the 14 remaining places, 11 were allocated to Europe, 2 to the Americas, and 1 to Asia. As a result, only 3 non-European nations took part: Brazil, Cuba and the Dutch East Indies. This is the smallest ever number of teams from outside the host continent to compete at FIFA World Cup. Austria qualified for the World Cup, but after qualification was complete, the Anschluss united Austria with Germany. Austria subsequently withdrew from the tournament, with some Austrian players joining the German squad. Latvia was the runner-up in Austria's qualification group, but was not invited to participate. Instead, Austria's place remained empty, and Sweden, which would have been Austria's initial opponent, progressed directly to the second round by default. This tournament saw the first, and as of 2016, the only, participation in a World Cup tournament from Cuba and the Dutch East Indies. It also saw the World Cup debuts of Poland and Norway. Poland and the Netherlands would not reappear at a finals tournament until 1974, while Norway would not qualify for another World Cup finals until 1994. A unified Germany team would not appear again until 1994. Format. The knockout format from 1934 was retained. If a match was tied after 90 minutes, then 30 minutes of extra time were played. If the score was still tied after extra time, the match would be replayed. This was the last of the 2 World Cup tournaments that used a straight knockout format. Summary. Germany, France, Italy, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Cuba and Brazil were seeded for draw taking place in Paris on 5 March 1938. 5 of the 7 first-round matches required extra time to break the deadlock. 2 games still went to a replay. In one replay, Cuba advanced to the next round at the expense of Romania. In the other replay, Germany, which had led 1-0 in the first game against Switzerland, led 2-0 but eventually was beaten 2-4. This loss, which took place in front of a hostile, bottle-throwing crowd in Paris, was blamed by German coach Sepp Herberger on a defeatist attitude from the 5 Austrian players he had been forced to include. A German journalist later commented that Germans and Austrians prefer to play against each other even when they're in the same team. This remains, as of 2014, the only time in World Cup history in which Germany failed to advance to the final 8. Sweden advanced directly to the quarterfinals as a result of Austria's withdrawal, and they proceeded to beat Cuba 8-0. The hosts, France, were beaten by the holders, Italy, and Switzerland were seen off by Hungary. Czechoslovakia took Brazil to extra time in a notoriously feisty match in Bordeaux before succumbing in a replay. The South Americans proved too strong for the depleted Czechoslovak side and won 2-1. This was the last ever match to be replayed in a World Cup, with all winners of replay matches in 1938 having been eliminated in the next round. Hungary destroyed Sweden in one of the semi-finals 5-1, while Italy and Brazil had the first of the many important World Cup clashes in the other. The Brazilians rested the star player Leonidas, confident that they would qualify for the final, but the Italians won 2-1. Brazil topped Sweden 4-2 for third place. Rumor has it, before the finals Benito Mussolini was to have sent a telegram to the team, saying, "Vencerò Moria." This should not have been meant as a literal threat, but instead just an encouragement to win. However, no record remains of such a telegram, and World Cup player Pietro Rava said, when interviewed, No, that's not true. He sent a telegram wishing us well, but no, never, win or die. The final itself took place at the Stade Olympique de Colombes in Paris. Vittorio Pozzo's Italian side took the lead early, but Hungary equalized within 2 minutes. The Italians took the lead again shortly after, and by the end of the first half were leading the Hungarians 3-1. Hungary never really got back into the game, with the final score favoring the Italians 4-2. Italy became the first team to successfully defend the title and were once more crowned World Cup winners. Because of World War II, the World Cup would not be held for another 12 years, until 1950. As a result, Italy were the reigning World Cup holders for a record 16 years, from 1934 to 1950. The Italian vice president of FIFA, Ottorino Barassi, hid the trophy in a shoebox under his bed throughout the Second World War and thus saved it from falling into the hands of occupying troops. Venues: 10 cities were planned to host the tournament. Of these, all but Lyon ultimately hosted matches. Lyon did not due to Austria's withdrawal. Squads. For a list of all squads that appeared in the final tournament, see 1938 FIFA World Cup squads. Results: First round replays, quarterfinals replay, semi-finals match for third place. Final goal scorers: with 7 goals, Leonidas is the top scorer in the tournament. In total, 84 goals were scored by 42 different players, with 2 of them credited as own goals. 3 goals, 2 goals, 1 goal, own goals. Sven Jakobsen, Ernst Lorcher, FIFA Retrospective Ranking. In 1986, FIFA published a report that ranked all teams in each World Cup up to and including 1986, based on progress in the competition, overall results and quality of the opposition. The rankings for the 1938 tournament were as follows.